Allow yourself to feel fully supported with the weight of your body just resting in this chair. Allow your feet to be firmly on the floor, and just allow your arms to relax wherever they're comfortable, either in your lap or by your side. And I invite you this morning to just take a few moments to focus on your breath. This breath of life, this breath of divine presence, this breath of God's energy that moves and flows and has its being in each and every one of us. This breath that exchanges energy with our own blood within us, circulating through every cell of our body. And I invite you just to let things fade away for a moment. All your to-dos, whatever that you have on your mind or your heart that's been weighing on it, and just allow yourself to be present in this moment. Let us affirm, I have come here to be calm. I have come here to rest in the stillness. I have come here to enjoy the silence. There is a place of stillness that runs deep, a place of quiet that offers solace, a place of calm that offers wisdom, and it lies within you. I invite you to access this place and bring calmness to any situation, any emotion, any thought that is in your heart and mind right now. Often the winds of chaos can swirl around you, but know in this moment, here in the silence, in the stillness, that you are unmoved. Let us affirm, nothing and no one can fluster me. I access and exude calmness. In the midst of challenging times, my presence in divine presence calms the space around me and creates room for my spirit to express. I have come here to be calm. So I invite you to take just a few moments now to enter the silence, to enter the silence. Allow yourself to continue to rest here in the stillness, in the silence. If your mind begins to wander, bring it back to your breath and that presence within. For this is the practice. Simply becoming aware and bringing our awareness back to the breath, back to this presence, back to the serene stillness, the silence within. Allow yourself a few more moments here. I know I have come here to be calm, that nothing and no one can fluster me. I access and exude calmness. In the midst of challenging times, my presence and divine presence calms the space around me and creates room for the divine to express within me, and for me to express as the divine. And so I gently invite you to bring your awareness back to your body. Ever so gently, you can become aware of your fingers and toes. Maybe start to move them. Bring your focus back to your breath. And then maybe start to gently awaken your body. Maybe you roll your neck or roll your shoulders. And ever so gently, you bring yourself back to this time and space. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. How was that for a moment of solitude this morning? And this is what we're talking about when we're talking about taking solitude. These kinds of moments, moments for you, moments of self-care. So I want to welcome everyone this morning. Good morning again. Whether you are joining us here in person or live on Facebook, thank you for your presence here today. Thank you for showing up as only you can. So today we're going to explore the final lesson from Martha Creek's book, Presence and Potential. We've been working on this each Sunday for the past few months. Each Sunday we've taken a lesson from Martha Creek's Gems of Wisdom about how to experience our higher selves and live from a place of wholeness. And so if you have yet to check out this book, I think we still have 2 copies available in the back. Martha Creek has informed me herself that this is now available on Audible with her own narration. So if you're looking for an Audible version in Martha Creek's own voice, I recommend that you check that out. And if you'd like to learn more about Martha Creek, you can check out her website, marthacreek.com. So today, before we begin though, I want to thank our dear friend and spiritual mentor, Martha Creek, for writing such a soul-searching and down-to-earth book about living as a spiritual being, having a human experience, because this is what we all have come here to be. So thank you, Martha, and I hope that your gems of wisdom will come additionally as more books are published. I look forward to those. So in this chapter, Martha Creek challenges us. She challenges us and invites us to accept solitude. Now, what is solitude? The dictionary defines solitude as a state of living alone or living in seclusion, a state of being in a period of aloneness. Now, you might be asking, hey, we're human, aren't we social creatures? Aren't we designed to interact with each other, share ideas, exchange ideas, commune in places, and come together? And I would say, yes, we are. But we are also creatures who are designed to think, feel, and process. We have this beautiful conscious mind that lets us know that we are aware, we know what we're thinking, we know what we are feeling, we can dive the depths of our conscious mind. And so, accepting solitude is not about being lonely, as we know that we're connected always through this divine presence. Rather, it's about being comfortable. Comfortable in those moments where you are alone. Comfortable with your own thoughts, with your own feelings, with thinking about the situations or experiences in your life. It sounds easy, doesn't it? Now, I know that when I'm in the midst of life, when I'm in the midst of the busyness, the sights, the sounds, all the sensory input, interacting with others, technology, everything that's coming at me 100 miles an hour in this thing that we call life, I can experience trouble sometimes processing how I think and feel. And so moments of solitude help us. They benefit us, and they do this in two ways. They increase our self-awareness, and they increase our spiritual awareness. Now, I'm going to talk first about self-awareness, because I think it's important to think about ourselves. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, so I'm going to ground us in our human experience first before we talk about the spiritual beingness. So self-awareness is our ability to understand our inner selves. Who are you? Why do you think, feel, act, react, and respond the way that you do? It's the ability to understand more of your conscious and your subconscious mind. Why do you react to sensory stimuli the way you do? Why do you react to certain situations the way you do? Can you learn to respond rather than react? So according to Martha Creek, she uses periods of solitude to free herself. And I like this in her book, because I do think of solitude as a freeing experience oftentimes. She uses solitude to renew herself, give herself renewed strength, vitality, and restoration. And so she's inviting us, encouraging us to take our own moments of solitude. Not in reaction to the outside world, not as a way to push ourselves away from the outside world or separate ourselves from the world, but with intention and purpose. She specifically says, seek solitude in a way that, quote, I need to clear my own mind. I need to get clearer about my own thinking. I need to clarify what I will do and what I won't do. I need to clarify it through my best thinking, not emotional reactivity, until I see what possibilities exist before me. Solitude helps us gain clarity. It helps us see what possibilities exist. When we're wanting to react, when we're wanting to be in this human expression, so that we're not tied in to just one pathway. We get to see all the possibilities. So I can't speak for each and every one of you, You have your own experiences in this life, but I know that I tend to do some of my best thinking in moments of solitude. Why? Because I've given myself the time and the space to process things at my own speed. Each of us has our own pace when processing things. Each of us is going to have our own reaction or response to moments of solitude. And no two moments of solitude are going to be the same. Some of us, like myself, seek out solitude whenever we can. I really enjoy it. There are going to be others of you who really love life, who get out there, enjoy interacting, get recharged through social interaction, and maybe are a little uncomfortable with your own thoughts and feelings sometimes. And so you avoid solitude. There's a range of reactions to solitude. But wherever you are in that spectrum, it can be helpful to know that solitude doesn't have to go on for days or hours on end to be beneficial. It can be a breath. It can be a few moments. It could be the 5 to 10 minutes that we take here on a Sunday morning to experience meditation. We are taking solitude even in the midst of being here with others. So I know that I find solitude and the lure of solitude akin to a grounding wire. For me, it is a way to release, to discharge excess mental and emotional energy that I don't want to keep in that moment. It's a way for me to process what's going on in my life. It's time to allow myself to ground myself. So if I'm dealing with difficult emotions, if I'm dealing with intense feelings, or maybe struggling with some thoughts or situations in my life, it's a way for me to ground myself in the here and the now. But as someone who's also autistic and tends to be more introverted, I can also easily find myself reaching my quota of external stimuli. And so I've learned that I can take solitude as a way to reduce my frustration, my anxiety, my anger. Whether I'm contemplating deep, life-changing decisions, or whether I'm just contemplating how something might affect my day or the goals in my life, taking a moment of solitude helps me sort through my thoughts, helps me gain clarity. Now, as the call to enter ministerial school started to come to me a couple years ago and became more evident over time, the practice of solitude and reflection helped me discern what was my pathway forward and helped me transition from being a teacher back to being a student. So you'll be happy to know I'm in the last of my prerequisites before I enter the ministerial program, and I do plan to apply this fall. And now I'm on the precipice of making a big decision. Which Unity ministerial pathway is right for me? I see benefits to both. And in part, it's going to determine or be determined by what my role here is in the future. But as I continue to discern what this role is, I continue to use solitude for inner reflection. Even on a daily basis, and my husband can attest to this, I often prefer a time period in the morning where we don't have much interaction. I'll say usually good morning, he'll go on his way, and it allows me some time to wake up. It allows my brain to turn on and start processing things for my day. It allows me to know what is mine to do today. How am I going to respond today? And so as much as I enjoy these moments of solitude, I even use it on a daily basis, I sometimes struggle. When it's something that's deeply emotional, when it's something that's troubling my soul, I can even struggle with being alone and being comfortable in being alone. But for me, the benefits outweigh the uncomfortableness. The benefit of taking my time to ground myself in what I call conscious understanding, or you might call it self-awareness. Taking time to contemplate these things, what is mine to do, not with the intention of pushing them away, not with the intention of ever not experiencing these difficult things again. That's not the intention. The intention is so that I can respond rather than react. As I can react, I'm human just like you are. I can react out of anger, out of frustration, out of fear, out of resentment, out of judgment. I react, but I learn more about how to respond. And so it's also that this is kind of a cycle, because when I find myself reacting from frustration, from fear, from anger or resentment, from these difficult emotions, it's an indicator. It's like a yellow flashing light saying slow down. It's an indicator that I need more time in solitude to reconnect, to recharge, to ground myself. Now, over the years, I have learned more and more about how I need solitude. Not just for prayer and meditation, not just for spiritual awareness. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But even in these moments where I find myself getting frustrated and overwhelmed, even in these moments where I'm tied up in my humanness, solitude helps. For me, solitude also spurs my creativity, though. Each of us are creators. Each of us are creative in our own way. For me, it gives me time to brainstorm, time to sketch, time to mentally visualize and mentally engage with the creative ideas that are coming to my mind. Now, I am someone who enjoys creating art, taking photographs, writing, enjoying the art of Mother Nature as we're hearing outside right now. But these moments of solitude, when I take these moments of peaceful inner reflection, it allows me to process these creative ideas. It gives me renewed energy that, yes, I can do that. That's my next direction. That's my next creative project. And it allows me to guide them into expression. It's the human form of mind idea expression. But more importantly than all of this self-awareness, solitude can be used to ground ourselves and attune ourselves to divine presence. This is the spiritual awareness that solitude brings. It's not just about understanding the human part of us, it's about understanding the spiritual beingness that we are and how we are expressing as spiritual beings in this human form. We are both fully human and fully divine. We are both spiritual beings in a human expression. These things cannot be separated. Both make up our experience. Both make up who we are. So when we look over distant time, recorded time, we know that major spiritual figures throughout time have sought out solitude. Jesus sought out solitude in the wilderness for 40 days. Siddhartha Gautama, the historical Buddha, sought out solitude under the Bodhi tree for 49 days. Even the prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was purported to seek out solitude for weeks at a time in a cave on Mount Hira. So we could look at all of recorded history. We could find all those spiritual leaders. But we also have them here in our own movement, in the New Thought movement. H. Emily Cady, in her book Lessons on Truth, talks about these periods of solitude. She talks about going and seeking out the secret place of the Most High. She uses biblical terms to talk about this process of going within. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore called this the silence, to refer to periods of quiet contemplation where one attunes with divine mind, with this divine presence in each and every one of us. And so I want to share a quote with you that I hope will inspire your own moments of solitude, from Myrtle Fillmore's book, Healing Letter. She says, quote, "When you go into the silence, you should breathe evenly, in the happy feeling that you are taking in great draughts of God's life-sustaining air." How powerful is that, to think that God is in the very presence of the air that we breathe? That's how in tune she was with this divine presence. She goes on to say, quote, "A period of quiet and rest each day is your opportunity to establish yourself at the center of your being, the one place where the supply of life and substance is inexhaustible. God is this eternal life that we make into living. Each day you should have a period of stillness when the soul may gather sustaining power and restoring life." She, in her infinite wisdom of her day, was inspired to seek this out each day as a way to center herself in this divine presence so that she was responding rather than reacting. And she goes on to say, quote, "God gives freely. It is for us to keep the receiving channels open, to keep attuned to the realities so that our intellect does not take us out of among the limited ideas of the world. The manifest man must have the sustenance that can come only from within." She goes on to say, and this is my favorite part, "We should not draw the strings of this instrument of spirit so tight that the music of the soul cannot find expression." Here she's referring to this human form. We should not draw the strings of this instrument, this human form, so tight that the music of the soul cannot find expression. So I would ask you, how often in your human form, in the midst of your busyness and doingness, are you drawing the strings of this instrument of spirit so tight that the music of your own soul cannot find expression? This is the benefit of solitude. This is the benefit of going within, so that we can live fully as this expression of divine source, of divine substance. Taking time in solitude and quiet moments of reflection and contemplation can help us immensely, both as spiritual beings and as human expressions. Moments of solitude can help us recharge our batteries. It can provide clarity about our pathway forward. It can help us process our thoughts and our feelings, this humanness that is part of our beingness. It can spur our creativity, and it can help us attune to this divine presence within each and every one of us. So as you go about your week, this week, in addition to Martha Creek's invitation, I would invite you to explore moments of solitude this week, to contemplate how moments of solitude will benefit you and your experience where you are authentically as an expression of the divine in this moment. I would also invite you to experiment differing lengths of solitude, seconds, minutes, hours, and if you're so bold, maybe even days. so that you get to know what feels right for you. What do you need to be at your own pace, living authentically as you, both as a spiritual being and a human expression? And if you are feeling especially brave in the midst of storms that come along in life, I invite you to schedule a moment of solitude every day. It can be just a few minutes to connect with this divine presence within you. Whether you call this prayer, whether you call this meditation or contemplation, whether you call it the silence or seeking the place most high, whatever words comfort you, whatever you call the God of your knowing, I invite you to experience that presence each and every day. So I'm going to conclude today with wise words from my favorite poet, and if you don't know who that is, it's Mr. Khalil Gibran from The Prophet. He says, "And a man said, 'Speak to us of self-knowledge.' And he answered, saying, 'Your hearts know in silence the secrets of the days and the nights. But your ears thirst for the sound of your heart's knowledge. You would know in words that which you have always known in thought. You would touch with your fingers the naked body of your dreams, and it is well you should. The hidden wellspring of your soul must needs rise and run murmuring to the sea, and the treasure of your infinite depths would be revealed to your eyes. But let there be no scales to weigh your unknown treasure. And seek not the depths of your knowledge with staff or sounding line, for self is a sea, boundless and measureless. Say not, 'I have found the truth,' but rather, 'I have found a truth.' Say not, 'I have found the path of the soul.' Say rather, 'I have met the soul walking upon my path.' For the soul walks upon all paths. The soul walks not upon a line, neither does it grow like a reed. The soul unfolds itself like a lotus of countless petals." And so I invite you this week to get to know yourself as this unique lotus expression unfolding with all your petals. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Namaste. I'd like to appreciate you for your presence here today, and thank you for giving as only you can give as we enter in this time of sacred, not just gratitude, but of giving and receiving. So if you were feeling spiritually fed today, if you were feeling that it is your place to give, I invite you to get that gift ready. And if you are giving by other means, if you've already had that set up in other ways, or you're sending in a check in whatever way you are, I invite you to hold the thought of that giving in your heart as we say our offering blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. And our music team is going to come up and bless us with another song.